Yo, what's good? What's good? This is Rome, man, of the BmoreOpen podcast, man. This is Freedom Speak edition. This is something I'm going to start out with a good friend of mine that has been studying a lot of things, you know what I'm saying, that this matrix that we live in, these things, a lot of things that we don't understand that's in play, you know, and by us not knowing what it means, we fall subject to it. You know what I'm saying? We fall into it, you know what I'm saying, into the system, you know what I'm saying, that was set up. And first thing we're going to talk about is this right here.
The dollar bill.
It's a dollar bill. You know what I'm saying? And it was something that was brought to my attention today that I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? That this is more valuable than this, the $10 bill or the other bills that goes, you know, from this in suit. You know, and the reason why is that this dollar bill is what governed by a bank, right?
It's backed up and it's governed by a bank.
It's backed up and governed by a bank.
It's a circulation from a banking system, not from a Federal Reserve system.
And these bills, the 10s, the 20s,
the hundreds,
the 50s, and everything is under our system.
A Federal Reserve system, which is not backed up by a banking system at all, because we don't even know where did it come from.
Yeah.
You know, they don't even tell you, because the simple fact, when you look at the dollar bill and you look at this little black seal, it has a letter.
Yeah.
Each letter represents each of the Federal Reserve banks in this country. There's only 12 banks.
Yeah.
This one right here is F. This has come from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. So this has a value, and it has you can use this bank, you can use this dollar bill as a mortgage to pay a mortgage. Everything in this world, anything in this country consists of a mortgage. We are mortgage. We are nothing but property, collateral damage. We are collateral to the debt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So therefore, we are not free, because as long as we're United States citizens, we're not free. As long as you own the FRNs, this is nothing but a loan from the debt, because we was in debt the day that your moms and your dad delivered you to the municipal corporation and the federal corporation, the Reserve Bank, and the DTC, which is owned by the Federal Reserve System, the Depository Trust Company. They own the Department of Commerce, Department of Treasury. They own you.
Yeah.
You don't even own your name. See, your birthday is part of the corporation system. But you don't even have a birthright. When you say this is my birthday, when you look at your birth, you look at your things like your birth certificate.
Yeah.
This is your birth certificate, which is nothing but a title.
Yeah.
It's nothing but a deed. A deed is a deed that's saying that you're nothing but property. You're nothing but collateral.
But you know what it looks like too, though? No. It looks like a warehouse.
It's
like an invoice.
Check this out.
You know what I'm saying? It's a warehouse invoice.
And let me read something to you. What it says. Let me read something to you. It says, first you must act, this is about the birth certificate. You must know exactly what considered to be the key element within the presumed contract, which is all it is. It's a contract that your parents signed when they signed you over to the ward of the state when they signed that birth certificate. Because on your birth certificate, it has a registration number.
Yeah.
And on top of the registration number, it says right here up top. Where you see up top is a registration number. And check this out. That day, you became the straw man. Because on that day, you have a birthday, the day you was born. And then when you look down here on part 16, I don't know how many birth certificates, because it's a certificate of live birth. Because down here it says, amendment made of certificate. This is the actual document, a Maryland document. And it says, date received by health department, August the 11th, 1969.
Received, yeah, just like when you get property, when
Exactly.
you order something, you know what I'm saying?
That birthday, right there, there's two birthdays.
That's your production date.
That date right there, see, this is your name up top.
Yeah.
Who you are.
Yeah.
But down here is the straw man. August the 11th, 1969 is the day they acknowledge you as the straw man. You are not even real. You're not even a real entity. You're nothing but a fictitious entity. That name right there, that birthday, that name in all capital letters is nothing but a straw man. It doesn't have a voice. It's not live.
And then when you break it down, that's the product name.
Yeah.
It's your name.
Your
you know
name.
What I'm saying? And that's the manufacturing date.
Your manufacturing date, the day
you know
you was
what I'm
born,
saying?
the day,
you was born.
and 3 days later, the day they delivered you to the corporations,
To the
municipal
corporation,
and the federal corporations. Then let me read.
Now you marked as inventory.
You're not. That's all it is. Now let me tell you what it says. It says First, you must know exactly what is considered to be a key element within the presumed contract. This is about birth certificates. That holds title and ownership to a real man's labor, rights, intelligence, intellect, and property through his persona, which means your real life. This fundamental element is legally called an instrument, which is the birth certificate. But you know it as your birth certificate. Since the early 1960s, birth certificates were issued by the government to persona with a capitalized letter names. This is not a lawful record of your physical birth, but something totally different. Birth certificate is a government commercial instrument to the legal title, ownership, or deed to your straw man. Don't forget that presumption and contract is that the real you, your persona, are one and the same. This commercial record or commercial instrument, birth certificate, is a legal commercial receipt.
Yep, invoice.
It's no different than any other commercial bill of lading or a warehouse receipt.
Yep.
Delivery of a commercial good. You ain't nothing but a piece of good to the collateral debt of the municipal and federal corporation.
But see, a lot of people think of it because I guess it's to a human, you know what I'm saying, and don't really understand how these stuff was set up, but looking like, oh, no. But when you really look at it, that's how it's set up. You know what I'm saying?
It's
when
supposed to be set up that
when your eyes open up, like what you just pointed out, section 16. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I never really looked at that like that. Or
it's two
never,
birthday. That's
you know
two birthday. That's when the straw man was born, August 11, 1969. I was born August 3rd, 1969. When the straw man was born on that day, August
That's
11th.
when it was issued.
Exactly. As the straw man. Exactly.
Yeah.
It was the government, and now check this out. It is no different than any other bill, commercial bill of lading or warehouse receipt. Delivery of the commercial goods was made to the government to your local hospital, that you was born. For clarity, view a birth certificate as a commercial document of title. While the document of title is not a title itself, it is parallel to a commercial certificate of title or birth certificate. The bill of lading means a document evidence a receipt good for shipment issued by a person engaged in a business or transporting or receive, hold to dispose of the documents of goods it's covered. That's wild.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Right?
But I came across this like some years ago, and they broke it down to the you know what I'm saying, as it being like an invoice. You know what I'm saying?
That's all it is.
With the you know what I'm saying, with the production, the name of the product is your name. You know what I'm saying? The two people that made it, you know what I'm saying, when you was manufactured, and then when you was registered into the inventory.
You was registered,
you know what I'm saying?
See, the doctor became the holder.
The holder. Okay.
But see, but the government became the holder due course. They became the rightful owner of your trust.
Of you.
So now one thing, when you parents signed you to the state, you became an investment to the stock market. Once there's 3 investments on your body, $4 million each, up to $1 million. So your name is spread all across the world, being invested as stock,
banks, right?
Under
banks, right?
In each bank's stock exchange, because all the banking systems are connected to the DTC. All of these banking systems are connected to the de facto government agencies, and they are making plenty there. Let me read something else to you real quick. It says that when a child is born within the corporated United States, which word United States means corporation, federal corporation, a record of live birth form, a commercial bill of lading, or similar is issued by the hospital. Your father and mother sign the hospital form, the receipt for good. As a parent, as the parents are the manufacturers. The title holder of the good is the child. The transfer of the property rights, the child's rights, to the state is accepted by the signature of their government agent. That's the doctor. The state licensed physician. The parents have unknowingly pledged their child's future and labors to the government, signed as a presumed contract. This converts the legal status of their child to that of chattel property, The word chattel means slave, a item of person, movable property, is permanently indentured servitude. The state becomes a de facto holder of the rights to your child, the collateral. Next, the hospital sends the record of live birth to the state Bureau of Vital Statistics, which own your name, own you. You don't even own your name. Sometimes called the Department of Health and Rehabilitative Service, the HRS, in some states. Each state is required to supply the federal government with birth, death, and health statistics. The state agency that receives the record of live birth, the title, birth certificate, keeps it, and then issues the birth certificate, the BC. The BC is a commercial instrument document evidencing that the state is holding the title ownership of to your child. Holding the title is not the same as having possession of property. So the state is a holder of the instrument, but not the holder due course, which is the DTC with the Federal Reserve, the United States government, which is a federal corporation. This is all based on a presumed acceptance of the contract. Well, this is nothing but a contract. Because it was never revealed to them, nor was full disclosure made in full good faith, so they don't object to what they do not know. The current holder of your commercial birth document receipt is able to capitalize on it because your failure to instruct the holder to do otherwise, due to your silence and lack of your legal actions. Birth certificate is issued by the state, then is registered with the United States Department of Commerce, which is nothing but business. Commerce means to do business.
To do business,
Through their agency, the United States Census Bureau, who is responsible to collect vital statistics from all the states. The word registered is commercial law. Does not mean that your name was merely noted in a registry or book of reference persons. When a birth certificate is registered in the United States Department of Commerce, it means that the child persona name on it has become the surety, the guarantor, as a collateral for the commercial loan. See, every time you own a dollar bill, every time you own FRNs, it's nothing but a collateral loan. You can own millions, you can have billions of dollars. If you are a United States citizen, you are nothing. Every dollar bill that you own, every property that you own under the territory of the United States, you are nothing but collateral. It's not everything that you own is a debt, because why? A slave cannot own anything from its master.
And you know what? And that's why I always didn't understand like how money can be taxed. No matter what you get, it's always taxed. Like when you hit the lottery, they take almost half of that shit.
And taxes,
you know what I'm saying?
And taxes is part of the same system.
The same system, you know what I'm saying? Because think about it. We are taxed so much. I work, I'm taxed. I go into the store and buy something, I'm taxed. You know what I'm saying? On everything that I spend my money on, I'm taxed.
And you're right.
So, you know what I'm saying? It makes a lot of sense in what you're saying, you know?
And see, the thing is, though, even when you got a job, you're still a slave.
Yeah, most definitely.
Because, like I read to you, up here on the top, it says they are owners to your labor, their ownership to the real man's labor, so they can do whatever they want to do to your labor. You're working for those people. You're working for the corporation to do their will, to do their duty. You're there to do their duty to produce whatever they want you to produce, and they send you on these jobs, and they say, well, look, you making this money. We borrowing, we giving you money. We loaning you money. You're not working for this. You're nothing but a slave. Because the simple fact, slave was abolished in 1863, but it was ratified in 1861. So while we are still chattel property. We're permanently indentured servitude. Permanently indentured servitude is nothing but a slave.
And a lot of this stuff is written and it hasn't been changed.
And see, the thing is, this stuff is out there. Even in the court, when you go in the court system, this stuff is hidden.
But you know what? That's the whole thing. It's like if you don't know.
Yeah, and a lot of us don't know.
You don't know, then you can fall for anything.
Right, but see, but the thing is, it's not that it's our fault that we don't know. We were just taught, trained, and programmed to do these things. Because the simple fact, you was taught the day when you first went to school. They taught you, like I said, their ownership of your intellect. They train you to be workers.
Yeah.
They're not training you to be private businessmen. They're not training you to be private bankers. They're not training you to be private civilians.
But you know what? That's where the parenting come into. You know what I'm saying?
See, but the thing is,
you can't just let the schools teach your kids.
No. The thing is, even the knowledge that they still teaching you, even your parents still teach you, they still don't know because they still was taught the same thing they was taught in the school system, and they still was programmed and trained to teach you the same thing. And see, the thing is, you are still under their statute law. See, that statute law doesn't matter to me anymore because I filed this right here, which is called an affidavit of truth, a notification of reservation of rights, which it did what this did. It took back all the contracts that I signed and it reserved my rights without prejudice. All rights has been reserved because why? I told them that every contract that I signed that are fictitious, they no longer exist. I'm taking back ownership of every contract I signed. My birth certificate, my social security, my license, my birth certificate, my passport, my ID. Those are still attached to the United States government, the de facto government they designed. Do you know you have a right to travel, a sovereign right to travel? Driver's license restrict you from traveling. That's why they can give you a ticket. That's why they can impound your car. They can do all these things. Why? Because the simple fact it falls under this. Right? It falls under the statute laws. And see, I took myself away from law. Check this out. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was fighting the case for 2 years. This freed me. I took the power away from the judge. I told the judge, if you don't abate these cases, I'm coming for your asses. They said the judges and state attorneys have immunity. Under this, they don't. Under the jurisdiction, under the Judiciary Act of 1789, the original organic constitution for the United States, Article 3, she has no power over a civilian private national. I'm a private civilian American national, pre-March 9th, 1933, non-district Columbia U.S. citizen. Yeah. So therefore, I'm under the Union State, not under the United States. I am part of the Republic. We are the people of the governor. We are the governed. We the one give the consent to the government, not the government to give the consent to the governor. See, the thing is, we give them power, but it switches. They hit this knowledge so that we don't know, so we can continue to be the collateral to the debt, to the slave, to the shadow property.
Well, let me ask you this. I'm gonna call you by I guess your
product name.
Say, but look, where can somebody find this information that's like looking to tap into these things that you're talking about? Well, where you first go at?
You can contact me, and I can show you. And I can show you the right thing because there's a lot of things on the internet that is out there, and a lot of the things on the internet can get you in trouble. So you have to be careful on what you're researching because the simple fact, if you don't have the knowledge of this, man, you can get caught up in this stuff. But this stuff is real. I had a friend of mine that on August 11th, he just got his name changed. He had a decree signed by the judge. He became a nationally American national, registered in the national database. So this man right here, he does a lot. And there's a lot of money in the trust that every time
are you entitled to it?
You're entitled to a trust. Yeah. It's a trust money that's being invested in your name. Every time you get locked up for murder, that's like $4 million. When you get locked up for a handgun, that's millions of dollars. See, the court system is designed to incarcerate you. The system is designed to convict you. It's not designed to free you. Why? Because every time you get convicted, it's an investment. They making money off of you. Why? Because they own you. So you got a lot of, everyone is in prison are political prisoners. Not just ones who stand up for the black power. No, everyone who's locked up is political prisoners.
They said that was really put in place with like when slavery was abolished or whatever. You know what I'm saying? A lot of slaves, they really didn't have nowhere to go or, you know what I'm saying, no work and no jobs and everything like that. So they came up with that system to, you know what I'm saying, what they started locking them up for petty crimes, you know what I'm saying, vagrant crimes and all that shit. And this system that you talking about was formed, you know what I'm saying, and made, and like you said, slavery was abolished when 18 what?
1863. It was
then
abolished in
it-
1860, and it was ratified in 1865. And then it's in the you can read. You can. I think it's the
and all
it's
this-
the Eighth Amendment. You can read it in the Eighth Amendment. The Constitution. See, it's important that we all learn the constitutions. You learn your rights and constitution. If you don't know your rights, you're ignorant to the law. You're ignorant to everything. If you don't know your rights, man, you don't know nothing.
You know what? I think that's why all this other stuff is put out there is to keep you away from it. All the materialistic shit. Even sports, yo. You know what I'm saying? Sports
I'm
and
glad
all
you
that
said
stuff.
that.
All the sports and all that stuff is put out there to keep your eyes off the real
And see,
important things. Because you got so many people that's worrying about other shit that doesn't even fucking matter. You know what I'm
Chris,
saying? That don't hold no weight.
let me
And
tell
this
you-
right here, they keep this away from us because they know if we get this, it's nothing they can do with us.
Chris, this is pure power from God.
Yeah, yeah,
God
it's
gave
power.
me.
It's-
You see, check this out. See, equitable jurisdiction came from Christ. See, he established that through the founding fathers from England. They came over here and established true equity under Chancery in the Article 3 of the original Constitution. It's the original Constitution for the United States, not the Constitution of the United States. See, the Constitution of the United States in all capital letters is a corporation. It's a corporation constitutions. But the original constitutions, before 1871, it was changed. It was the constitutions for the United States. They took the for, the F-O-R, and replaced it with the of and made it all caps. And see, that's why they can lock you up for these fictitious crimes. They can do what they want. They can tax you. They can take your property. You can own your house. You can have your house paid for, but you'll never own it. Why? Because it's nothing but a loan. But when you declare your status as a private civilian, and the courts, see, but the thing is, the courts has to declare your status. They have to acknowledge and recognize. And once you notice, that word notice is a very powerful word. I ask people, when you look this stuff up, some of the things I'm looking up, the words I'm looking up, the words I'm speaking, that I'm construing to you, that I hope you can construe the things that I'm saying, that get a law book. It's called the Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition, and learn the real legal, the lawful language. See, it's different between the book, the regular dictionary, but the court system don't use, the real chancery judges, like the Supreme Court, they don't use Merriam-Webster.
So
They don't use law books. They use the Merriam-Webster dictionary because that is the true definitions of these words. See,
Yeah,
these law
that's what I was
words
gonna
are
say.
under these law library, under these law dictionaries are statute definitions.
So a lot of stuff that you think means something doesn't really mean.
And see, true judges of the Supreme Court don't use law book. They don't use law dictionary. They use the Merriam-Webster dictionary.
Hey, let me ask you this real quick. You had shared a story that you had pulled an officer up. You know what I'm saying? I think this story really need to be told out there to a lot of people that's been, you know what I'm saying, about these police officers. And this is a story he shared with me earlier, and it like really blew my mind. And it's crazy. And you should ask the same thing and see what the response that you get from.
Now check
officer.
this out, y'all. Now check this out. Okay, I'm focus on something basically important, because a lot of people out there are getting incarcerated for fictitious things that they don't even have any idea. Okay, now check this out. I'm gonna read something before I get into the story about this police officer. Okay. Now, there's a law. There's the United States statute law. It's called the 27 CFR. As coded registered federal amount. As coded regulations. Dang, I forgot. But it's 27 CFR 72.11. And this is what it says. Commercial crimes. You know what commercial is? It's business, commerce. Mm-hmm. Any of the following types of crimes, federal or state. This is fact. You can look at this. This is a statutory under the United States. This is the same statutory that governs the IRS, the FTA, the patents trademark office, the copyrights office. These laws, these governments, the federal governments are under the same law, the IRS, and it says commercial crimes. All these are nothing but business. Commercial crimes, any of the following types of crimes, federal, state, offenses. Listen to this word. This is very important. Offenses against, listen to this, the revenue law. What is revenue? To make money.
To make, yeah.
Now check this out. These are the crimes that are under the commercial law against the revenue laws. Burglary, counterfeiting, forgery, kidnapping, larceny, robbery, illegal sales or possessions of deadly weapons, prostitutions, including soliciting, procuring, pandering, white slaving, keeping house of ill fame, like other offenses, extortion, swindling, confidence game, an attempt to commit, conspire, or to commit, or compounding any other foregoing crimes. Addition to narcotic drugs and the use of marijuana will be treated as such as a commercial crime. So check this out. Now check this out. I'm gonna read a little something about lawyers, because a lot of people go run and get a lawyer and think they the saviors, but they are part of the system.
Yeah.
Now check this out. According to the Chief Justice William H. Rehnquist, 100% of the people that are in federal and state penitentiaries are there voluntarily don't believe it. We have some simple yes or no questions to prove how one is duped into forfeiting their rights and trading them to statutory privileges. An attorney at law is the arms of the state, and their first duty is to the court system, then to the government, not to you. Furthermore, whenever any duty to you interferes with their first duty, you are the one that takes the back seat. Think you have attorney-client privileges where what you say to an attorney at law remains private? No, it don't. And I'm going to tell you why. Wait a minute. Oh, you ever hear of a discovery? Because you know every time you get in trouble, they have a discovery with everything that you did, and all your cases and everything, your criminal background and everything. So check this out. There is where your attorney is ordered to turn over your information to the state's attorney that is attempting to incarcerate you. Now check out what this Supreme Court judge said. Now you hear what I said? Attorneys are a bunch of liars. Now, check this out. We are here to help you. However, in the end, it is you must stand up for your rights. Judge, he's a Supreme Court judge. Judge Auger Fee stated it very clearly in the case of U.S. versus Johnson. You can look this case up. 76 Federal Supplement 538. That your rights are neither according to the passive resistance nor to the person indifferent thereto. Furthermore, Judge Fee stated that your rights cannot be claimed by an attorney or solicitor and are only valid when insisted upon a belligerent claimant in person. The belligerent claimant is you. His final warning was clear that one who is persuaded by honey words and moral suasion to testify or produce documents, discovery, depositions, simply loses the protections of your rights. And you see, this falls back into the police because they all can come. Why do you think when police do something to people out there in these streets, they're well protected? Why? Because you're a U.S. citizen. They can do whatever they want to you. You know what I'm saying? They can do whatever they want to. And check this out. I told Chris that I was in Upton Market on Pennsylvania Avenue, Pennsylvania Lawns. So I ordered me some food, and I was eating my food. So I seen this nice-looking young police officer, Baltimore City. So I called her and asked her, saying, "Excuse me, miss." I don't call her officer. I call her miss. "Excuse me, miss, can I speak to you for a minute?" She said, "Yeah." She said, "What's the problem?" I said, "Ain't no problem. I just want to ask you some questions." I said, "Check this out. You and as a police officer took an oath under the constitutions, the Maryland and the federal constitutions, right?" She said, "Yeah." Said, "It's by law, y'all have to take this oath to protect and serve the people of this city, this state, this country. You have to reserve their rights without prejudice." She said, "Yeah." I said, "Okay, now check this out. Do you know anything about your public hazards and malpractice bonding policy?" She said, what you talking about? I said, well, check this out. By state and federal law, every government official is required to have a public hazard and malpractice bonding policy. And I said, and if me as a civilian of this country asks you to produce your identification of your public hazard and malpractice bonding information, you are required by law, federal and state, by law, to produce that information to me. And if you don't have it, you are not an officer. You are you are enforcing law illegally. Why? Because you're out of uniform and you're antisocial against American civilian. So that means you are here illegally. Illegally as an officer. You're walking around with a gun and badge as nothing but a vigilante civilian.
So she's no different than somebody packing or strapping.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
And I just told you
without displaying that.
Right, and I just told you what 27 CFR 72 is. Having the possession of a handgun is a commercial crime. I can have a gun right now, police take it I can go in that once I go in front of that courtroom and recite the 27 CFR 7211, I'm walking out that courtroom like I did on August the 8th. I was fighting the case for 2 years, 2 felony cases. And I told the judge, you have no jurisdiction because you cannot usurp your jurisdiction. The word usurp means to enforce, to take. No court system, no one cannot usurp their jurisdiction, because this is what Supreme Court Judge John Marshall said.
So this my thing though. No, it's like a lot of people you saying out there, it's like they don't know these laws and everything
At all.
Subject like what you said when they call your name, you accepting.
You accepted that jurisdiction. When you go into the Social Security building and they call your name, you accepted their offer. You accepted their jurisdiction. Why? Because now you're part of that system.
Part of that system.
You took upon that system.
So that's my whole thing. It's like a lot of people that have been incarcerated and has agreed to these things.
They accepted the terms.
They accepted the terms because they didn't feel there was no way out of it.
And
they
didn't know the terminology. They didn't have the terminology, Chris. They didn't know the truth. Because the truth has been hidden for thousands of years, man. And it's been hidden so long,
But
man.
that's the whole thing. It's like, for real. All right, somebody said this a long time ago. Do you feel that Ebonics take away from the language?
No, I don't. You know why? Because Ebonics is just another form of language that we communicate with one another.
But look, this is my point. That's not Ebonics. But so what's the importance of talking Ebonics or talking the language of the land? You know what I'm saying? Learning the language of the land is more important and more vital than the Ebonics that we try to speak. You know what I'm saying?
But the thing is, though, Chris, check this out. Ebonics is part of the language of the land. Why?
But no, what I'm getting out of what you...
It's nothing, but it's nothing, but it's nothing.
What I'm getting out of what you saying is like, if we would know more of this language and of this, it would save us more.
But check this out. I know Ebonics, Chris.
No, I'm just saying, though,
I speak it sometimes.
No, I'm just saying, though, yeah, you speak it sometimes, but you know this, too.
Right.
All I'm saying is, like, to people out there or to guys that's out there that's, like, worrying about all this other stuff that doesn't really matter.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Learning all these rap songs and learning, you know what I'm saying, all that stuff, you know what I'm saying? That doesn't matter.
Right.
Learn this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Learn, you know what I'm saying? They talking about, oh, it's, that's white man words and all that. No, it's English. That's what we speak. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, and I totally agree with you 100%.
That's what we speak. So.
But the thing is, though, it's designed for us to be ignorant. They see, it came from the...
No, you design yourself to be ignorant. No, I'm just saying, though, you choose to be ignorant of the fact, and ignorancy is not knowing.
Yeah,
right?
Ignorancy means the lack of knowledge. Not knowing. But the thing is, but how this system was created, Chris, it was designed for all of us not to know this.
Yeah, I understand it, but for us to have brothers like you and other brothers that speaking the truth and telling you the truth, and if you keep on ignoring this and not searching this and finding this, you getting what you deserve. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I feel, because the same way that you was enlightened and opened up your eyes to it, you know what I'm saying? And you see something, whenever it's like something you like to fix something like a appliance or something, you see something's wrong with that. It's not operating the way it's supposed to be, right?
Right.
So you're going to investigate and see what it's not running the way it's supposed to do. Why
Exactly.
the shit's not doing what it, it's supposed to do. That's the same thing with that. You
And
know what
I
I'm
agree with you, but the thing is though, Chris, see, you had to really to actually get deep into this, see, because when I was exposed to this, I didn't do this on my own. And I'm gonna be graciously honest. God came to me and told me I'm gonna free you from. I'm gonna free, but I'm gonna show you how to do it. And see, God came to me through a brother. He said, "Do you know anything about the UCC? UCC is another but the Uniform Commercial Codes, dealing with contracts, dealing with just signing contracts. You know, see, with signing contracts with consensual agreement in good faith with full disclosure. See, when my parents signed this birth certificate, it wasn't consensual. It wasn't in good faith. They was duped, misled, deceived. You know, they was hoodwinked. You know what I'm saying? Into signing something that they had no clue what was going on. And see, they designed us to be ignorant. They put things in our way to keep us distracted.
And that's what I was saying, like for us, sports, for
Yeah, and see, and I think,
and all that stuff
and see what they do,
for.
they glamorize these things
You know
to
what I'm
keep
saying?
us away from this. But some people, a lot of people is not going to gravitate. Like Jesus Christ said, many may call, but on a few be chosen.
But that's why I say, like, far as if people don't take heed to what this thing, then whatever you get is what you deserve.
Exactly,
Because, you know what I'm
exactly.
saying?
Some people going to stay, Chris. Some people, a lot of people is going to be U.S. citizens. Some people going to stay this way.
Yeah.
And a lot of people is not going to be. A lot of people is going to wake up, and you got a lot of people who are actually coming to the light right now.
And
Like you are, like you came to the light because you
But I'm
said
like
that.
this too, though. Like what you say, everything is like, as far as God sent. It was God speaking to me to saying to tape this, order to me to
Amen to
expose
that.
it out to, you know what I'm saying, to other people, because I realized the information that you shared to me, that's what I tell you. We're going to stop talking and we're going to tape this.
Right.
Because I feel that the platform that I'm on and the information that you brought to me, it could save millions of people, man. You know what I'm saying? Especially a lot of people that's in my city that doesn't know that these laws and fall victim to these things because they don't speak that language.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Why you said being ignorant. You got to cut all that out, man. It's no game out there. You know what I'm saying? It's not, these people wrote these words and everything and have it for you to study it, but they throwing all this stuff in your way because they know they're going to defer you away from it.
Distraction, like I said, it come from the distraction.
They're going to distract you away from, but it's right there in your fucking face.
And Chris, this stuff is there, but a lot of people might see it, but they don't understand it. Why? Because, see, a lot of people doing this, but a lot of people don't have the
that's where
equity. They don't have that true righteousness of equity. See, when you walk into them front of them judges,
look, check this out. That's where y'all come in. Like you said, you came in here before and you said you are a disciple.
I'm a disciple of Christ, exactly.
And that's what disciples do. Serve,
Exactly.
right? And
I'm
to
here to
serve the
serve
people.
them. And they know
that's
I
what
don't
you-
sell this stuff. I give it to you
And
for
that's
free.
what you here for. That's
Right.
your purpose. You know what I'm saying? So I understand what you're saying. A lot of people don't understand. You are set here, your purpose to make them understand because you understand. You are an interpreter of this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Bob, I haven't seen this brother in some years. Man, we sit up here and talk for like a couple hours, man. He exposed me to so much stuff that I didn't even realize and it's right underneath my nose.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff that you see that's out there every day by day that you really don't have a knowledge of what it means. You know what I'm saying? You got to, that's why I'm saying, though, no, far as learn the language.
Mm-hmm.
You live in the land and don't know the language?
Exactly. If you don't know this stuff, man. And let me read a little something to you. What this lady did from Chicago, from Illinois. Oh man, this woman was powerful, man. I mean, this was a great thing I got from off the internet last night. If anybody want to learn this stuff, I want you to go on this thing, this
Might
website
have to
call.
say that for part 2, brother.
No,
brother.
I'm
You know
talking
what
about. No, I'm talking about if they want to just get a little insight on it. Go on this website called Trust and Truth.
Mm-hmm.
Go on this website called Trust and Truth. This man name is Robert Michaels. He's from Baltimore.